Hey guys, welcome to Thursday the 11th of March. I want to make sure you can hear me. Do me a favor and post in that chat section if you can hear my audio. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm waiting for it to come up live on my screen right here. And we're going to be talking about websites today. So if you got any questions about websites, this is your session. But if you got other questions too about making money online, I will certainly address those. And I'll talk about those too, so don't worry about that. Get a little sip here, wake up my throat. How's everybody doing today? Put some comments there in that chat section. Let me know how you're doing, what's going on, what's shaking in your part of the woods. This is going to be a really easy session today. And I also posted in there, let me see if it's still there. Yeah, the first comment in there today, if you click on it, it's a video I did, and it will show you how to build a website in under 30 minutes, which is crazy, right? 30 minutes to a website. You know, you hear people working for days and all that. Now, it's not going to be, you know, a 200-page website or anything like that, but it certainly can help you out. So, yeah, let me, let's see here. Okay. Got everything working? Now the question is, big question is, do you even need a website? Generally what people do is they say, well, I'm going to go find this product and then I'm going to build this huge website around this product or these products, and then I'm going to get it up and running, and then I'm going to start selling. And I tell you, that's probably the worst thing you can do. Literally is the worst thing you can do. Because, let me ask you this question. What if you spend all this time, you build this great website, it looks beautiful, and you get everything set up, and you spend hours and hours and days and weeks on it, and it's beautiful, and then you put your products in there and nobody buys your products? Now what? Now what? I will tell you the best way to go about this if you want to sell products online is to get Kartra. Kartra, you'll find in the description, you'll find a link for it at the end of this training today. And what Kartra will allow you to do is build a page or two around a product and try to sell that product. Now, when you get a product that sells, then you go build a website. But why go build a website and do all that work and have all that effort put in, and you don't even know if something's going to sell? I mean, that's kind of crazy, right? Now, I'm not saying don't build a website, but I'm just saying don't put all your efforts into building this big old website with all this stuff going on and all this flash and glitter and all this stuff, and you don't even know if something sells. You need to test your products. That's why I tell everybody you got to get Kartra, because if you get Kartra, you can actually test out your products in there and see if they work out. And we do this all the time. I mean, I'll have a, you know, a product or a thing that I want to sell, and I just do it through Kartra. As a matter of fact, a lot of the products that I do sell, I never build a website for. A lot of the courses I have are like that, or the website is very minimal, or it's no website at all. It's just the URL, and I'll direct that back to Kartra where all my sales pages are. So that's another way of going about it, because I think it's a really daunting task for most people to build a website. I mean, it takes a lot of effort to do that. Not that you can't do that, but man, you got to test your products out first. Have you guys tested some products out? I mean, what have you done to test out these products? What have you tried out first? That's what I suggest you doing. And see, with something like Kartra, you can actually try out, you know, 10 products, 20 products, 30 products, and you can just duplicate the pages in there. And people don't know. I mean, they are at a website if they go to Kartra. They're not at the website, but you can actually put the website in Kartra too. But they don't know. They just know that they're on a page. That's it. And you know, all a website is a page. All Kartra is a page. So you can actually, you know, put your product on a page, okay, and have that product for sale on a sales page. And then if you want to have links going someplace else, you can certainly do that. Now, the other thing you can do, which is kind of cool, is if you start out with Kartra, okay, you start building out some pages in Kartra, you can actually take the code for Kartra and put it into WordPress, and it will be on your website. It's just a little tiny short code. I mean, like really short. Anybody can do this. You just go into the HTML of your WordPress website. And if you watch that video that I posted in the chat section, you'll see how to do a lot of this stuff. James says, didn't get a notice today. Had a hard time getting on today's live stream. You know what, James? I had a hard time getting on today's live stream. When I go live, I go to this, I guess it's like YouTube studio thing where I can actually see myself on the screen. And it wasn't showing me on the screen, but it was showing me that I could go live. So I just clicked the button, and then all of a sudden I did appear on there, which is good, because now I can see myself. So let me get back over to OBS here so I can, and it's weird because there's like a 10 or 15 second lag time between the time that I actually go live and I actually see it on the screen. So if I'm looking at the live screen inside YouTube Studio, it's this lag, and it's not, it messes with my head. But if I go to OBS, which is my streaming software, it's live, and I can actually see myself talking live, so that's good. Oh, one thing I didn't do, oh my gosh, I didn't do this. I forgot to ask you to subscribe. If you have not subscribed, please do so. Click that button below. If it's red, that means you haven't subscribed. It's a big warning to you. You need to click on it and turn it gray. Once it turns gray, there's going to be a bell next to it. You need to ring the bell. You need to turn on all bell notifications so you're notified every single time I go live. So how many of you guys actually have a website? Have you built a website? Have you worked on a website? Websites are all across the gamut now, and I tell you, a lot of people get sucked in to the ease of some of the websites like Wix, and I'm gonna pick on Wix for a second. If you go with Wix, guys, you are going to be so limited as to what you can do. And I know it's easy to build a website, let's say in GoDaddy. GoDaddy has like a website builder, or Wix has a website builder. The problem with that is, on down the road, you're really, really limited as to what you can do. And hopefully your business is going to grow, or we know it's going to grow if you work hard on it. And if you can't change it, you're going to have to rebuild that entire website someplace else. That's why I suggest to you to go the Kartra route first, where you build a couple pages and market your products, and then build a website. And the website I would recommend is WordPress. I mean, WordPress is the largest platform of websites anywhere in the world. Now, why is that important? It's important because any additions you want to add to it, any add-ons, any plugins, they're called plugins, things that make your website do stuff, are going to be available. Now, the other upside to that is if you ever have trouble with your website, if you ever have a problem with your website, there's millions of people that can help you with a WordPress website. They understand it. They know it. If you get some off-brand, plug-and-play type website thing that's easy for you to build, but it just isn't going to be able to do much, you're going to have a really hard time down the road. So I will tell you, I would go with WordPress. Now, there's an exception to that. If you need a really high level type of website, I mean one that does some really high-end stuff, you'd want to go with something like Magento. I have Magento. Magento is for Survivalcave food, and Magento we use because it has a whole bunch of different things that WordPress can't do. So for example, I have people who come to my website who are retail customers who buy products. Okay, that makes sense. But I also have vendors who are selling our products, and then they need to log into our website, put in an order for a customer, and they're going to get different pricing because they pay wholesale because they're one of my retailers. That's a whole different animal, okay? You can't do that on WordPress. That's not possible. But on Magento it is. Now, the downside to that is, and most people don't need Magento. If you're just selling products online directly to the buyer, you don't need it. But the problem is with Magento, it's super high level, okay? It's really, really high level. And I can't do a lot of stuff in there, so I have to hire people to do stuff. Like right now, we're changing the skin of our Magento site, and we're moving it to another platform, the 2.0, whatever it was, 1.9 or whatever it is. We have to do that. And doing so, I had to hire somebody. I've got to pay them thousands of dollars to actually, redesign that site on the latest iteration of Magento. And every few years, that happens. But it's the only it's the only platform that I can do that in, so that's something I have to do. But you, as an individual, if you're starting out, I recommend Kartra. I tell you guys over and over again, and you want to use my link, because if you use my Kartra link, first off, you can just click on the link and you can see all the things it does. It's going to be an email provider for you. It's going to be a membership portal for you. It's going to be sales pages. It's going to be texting. I mean, anything that you want to do to market your business, you can do in Kartra. And we just added the texting thing, which I think is pretty cool. Probably should text you guys and let you know when I'm going live too, but I don't want to text too much. So we start with everything in Kartra. And also, when you use my link, you can try it out for $1. Okay, so if you do decide you want to get Kartra, I think it's $1 for 14 days. So it's pretty cheap, and you can get in there and look around and see if it's for you, see if it works out. I can't find anything that's better than Kartra at this point. And building a web page, in WordPress is going to be a little bit more difficult. It's not hard. I mean, there's templates there. You can just fill them out, and you can have a WordPress website pretty easily. But that's if you've got a little bit of experience. I do recommend you going back to that video I posted in the chat section there, because excuse me, that video will show you how to build a WordPress website in under 30 minutes. Under 30 minutes. Okay. Now, I want to get to some of the things that I see people doing. They will say that things don't work. Okay, and here's what I mean by that. They go get a product that everybody else is selling. They try to go sell it, and it doesn't work. What they define as not working is that they're not getting revenue in that is greater than what they're spending. That's how they define it's not working. Now, the problem with that, and the way people describe it as not working, is that it's them. I mean, it's them that's the problem. Because if that product is selling in the market, other people are selling that product in the market, and they're successful at it, and you try to sell that product and you're not successful at it, what is the common denominator? The common denominator is you. People don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that it's them. But that's not a bad thing. It's just that you've got to adjust what you're doing. You got to see how they're marketing. You got to see what funnels they have set up. You got to see what emails they have set up. You got to see what ads they have set up. You've got to investigate. You got to spend a little time. It's not, a lot of people don't want to have to learn all this stuff. They say, well, I just want to pay somebody to do all that. I don't want to learn all that. There's no way you're going to be able to pay people to build a business for you. Okay, let me repeat that. There's no way you're going to be able to pay people to build a business for you. Because if that was the case, everybody with a little bit of money could just hire some people and have them build them a business. Okay? The people that will help you, that you can hire, are going to need direction as to what you tell them to do. Period. They need direction. Okay? And it's like if somebody knows how to do every single part of a business, from starting it to doing emails to sales pages to funnels to sequences and all that, why in the world would they go out and work for you? They wouldn't, is the answer. So the people you hire probably know one part of something. Maybe you go hire somebody and they know how to build a website, and that's great. You got to give them all the information, you got to give them all the products, but they know how to build a website, and that's great. But that's all they know. That's all they know. Let's say you go hire somebody who knows how to write emails. It's great. They know how to write emails, but they don't have a list. They don't know how to market products. They just know how to write emails, and you can go hire them to write you some emails. Okay. But the problem is, if they were really good at finding products and writing emails, and they had a list and could market to them, why in the world would they just be writing emails for you? The answer is they wouldn't. They would not. So understand, when you hire people, they're basically going under your direction. Okay, you're going to say, hey, I want the website to have this information and these products and blah blah, and then they're going to build a website. You can tell them, I want 4 emails to go out over a period of 3 days, and this is the sequence I want, and they can write some emails for you. But they can't run a business. If they could, why would they be writing emails for you? Why would they be building websites? They wouldn't, is the answer. Mike Roberts is in there. What's going on, Mike? Good to see you there today. So put your comments in that chat section. Have you had experience with this? Have you done this before? Have you tried to build a website? And you also need to stop and think about, what is the purpose of your website? What is it? Is it informational? Is it to sell products? Is it to market? if it's to market a product, you don't need a website. You don't need one. All you need is Kartra, and you can go ahead and market. You can start doing that. If you're, well, really, you can do almost anything in Kartra. But it's nice to have a website, but you can do almost anything in Kartra. I will tell you that. Do you use pop-ups and timers on sales pages? Yes and no. Sometimes I do, James. I've just started putting some timers inside of emails, which is kind of cool. I just found that I could do that, and that's kind of cool. I like that. I like to use pop-ups, exit pop-ups, if somebody's leaving a page, but you got to be really careful. If I'm running ads on YouTube or Facebook or something like that, you're not allowed to have pop-ups, and they will actually cancel your account if you have a pop-up. So any pages that I have a pop-up on, I can't use as a page for an ad because they won't allow it. They disallow it. Now, a useless pop-up is join our email list. Okay, don't do that. We'll talk about pop-ups for a second. I see a lot of people, they'll put a pop-up that says, here, click here to join our email list. Who the heck wants to be on an email list today? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Wait, I can't see your hands. Oh, wait, I can't see your arms. Nobody wants to be on an email list today. They just don't. They just don't. So if you have a pop-up, it's got to actually give somebody something of value. So a pop-up could be, enter your name and email and get 20% off your first order. Okay, I would do that. It'll reveal a code, and I can use that code to get 20% off my first order. It could be to download a PDF. It could be to get free access to something. It could just be a reminder. It could say, wait, don't leave this page. The sale ends today. It could just be something like that where they don't have to opt in or do anything. They just X out of that pop-up and they go back and, place their order. So the answer is yes. The way timers work is by either IP address or they work by a particular date. So if I have a timer at the top of a page and I say, okay, I want this timer to work until what's today's date? The 11th. All right, I want this timer to work to the 14th. So the 14th of March, I want the timer to zero out. Now, once I've decided I want that timer to zero out on the 14th at midnight, what do I want that page to do? So in Kartra, I can say I want that page to redirect. Now that page may redirect to another page that said this offer has expired and let people know it's expired. I could set it to where nothing happens. The timer just goes to zero if I want. Another thing I can do is set it based on IP address. So I can say, this is going to be a 3-day timer, and I want to base it on IP address. Now, why would I want to do that? Let's say I have an ongoing funnel where I'm sending people to it, and you joined it on Monday, and I want it to run through Thursday for you, okay? But then somebody else joins it on Thursday, and I want it to run through, Saturday for them. Well, then I would set it up for IP address, because what it does is it starts the timer based on the IP address of the computer or the phone that's accessing it. Okay, so that's pretty cool technology, but you can do that in Kartra. It's something you can do so that everybody has a different expiration date based on when they first saw the page. As soon as they first see the page, that's when it's going to start it. Now, what messes this up? Well, let's say they have a computer at home, and every internet access has a different IP address, okay, internet provider address. So you're going to have an IP address at the house. So if I go down to, say, Starbucks, and I access that same page again, it's going to start the timer all over again, because that's a different IP address. I'm on their internet, okay, if I go on their internet, or if I go to work or whatever. So every time I go someplace else, it's going to start the timer over, and it won't work. So you got to decide, what's more important to you. Tyler Moore has great WordPress tutorials on YouTube. Thanks, James. I appreciate that. So guys, if you want to look at more tutorials, you can do that, or you can look at mine, which I put in the chat section there. Where is that at? I put it right here. Let me just put this in here again. Oh, darn it. I thought I could copy it, but it's not letting me copy that darn thing. It's the first comment in there, guys, if you want to check it out. It is a link to how to build a WordPress website in 30 minutes. So that is kind of an overview of how you do this stuff. Like I say, for the most of you, you don't need a WordPress website. You don't need any website until you get a product that sells, unless it's an informational one. Now, if you want to do an informational one about your business or about you personally, your branding, that type of thing, yeah, go ahead and do a website. Simple. Do VPNs have any effect on the IP address? Yes. VPNs is a virtual proxy and network, and what it's going to do is it's going to erase the IP address. So if I'm using a VPN, IP addresses aren't recorded, so that timer won't work. Basically, it's not going to work at all because it doesn't have that IP address to pull from. So when you use a VPN, it masks that. And the reason people use VPNs basically are because they want to mask it. So like if I'm in, let's say, California, and I want to watch Netflix, that's fine. If I use a VPN and I say I'm now in Japan and use a Japanese IP address over there, all of a sudden it's going to and I take back what I said. It will register, but if you keep switching it, it'll change your timer. So it will register depending on the country you're in. But if I decide I'm going to be in Japan on my VPN, but I'm sitting in California, it's going to show me different shows on Netflix. Kind of interesting, because your access to the internet is based on what your IP address is and where you are in the world. So if you want to watch different shows, you just log in different parts of the world. That's what a VPN does. So it gives you a different IP address. So yeah, technically that pop-up would work, but it's going to work on whatever IP address. If you keep switching your IP address, it's going to keep starting that timer over and over again. Mike Roberts says, I'm struggling with getting images into my Shopify website. If I try stock images, it rejects because of formatting. I have tried to use images from AliExpress, but they won't upload either. That's weird, because actually if you're using something like Oberlo, let me put this in here, Oberlo, look that up, Mike. Oberlo will actually import the product and the images right into Shopify. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do this manually. As a matter of fact, if you're logged into Oberlo in your Shopify store and AliExpress, you can just click on a product and click import, and it'll import the product, the description, all the images, everything in there. So I'm not quite sure what issue you're having there, but I would suggest Oberlo. Oberlo is the import software for Shopify that they recommend if you're using AliExpress. So if you're not using Oberlo, and put that in there, Mike, are you using Oberlo or not? I'd be curious about that, because I know it works and you can do it in seconds. I mean, I could literally pick 100 products from AliExpress and click one button and they all import. I mean, it's really that easy. So now the only drawback to that, and I'm getting off on a little bit of a tangent. The only drawback to that is the descriptions that are in AliExpress are really pretty awful. And they're awful because they're written by somebody whose first language is not English. Okay, so you're importing their poor grammar. So you're going to have to go back in and probably add more information to it. You're going to have to change some of the grammar in there. It will have to be altered. If it was as easy as just importing products to your site and importing their descriptions, everybody would do it. And you can do that, but you're going to have to fix a lot of that stuff. Mike Roberts, Dropbox, talking about having a clipboard photos for slideshow. I really like Dropbox. I use it every single day. Dropbox is a great place if you don't want to crowd your computer with a bunch of files. Yesterday I did 4 tutorials for my new course, Digital Course Designer, and I uploaded them all to Dropbox so I could get them off my computer. Today I will actually put them into Kartra, and I'm building out all those modules. So that's something that I love Dropbox. If you're talking about that, it's great. I've had Dropbox since, wow, I would say 2011, something like that. It's probably about 10 years I've had Dropbox. I do have the paid version because I have so many files in there. There's so much in there. But another cool thing about Dropbox, like my video editor, I don't send him any videos at all. I upload them to Dropbox, and then I share. I click on share and get the URL, and then all he's got to do is click on the URL, and he can download that video from Dropbox, which is pretty cool stuff. So that way I don't have to send any files, and it saves a ton of time by doing that. So yeah, I definitely use that. I hope this is helping you guys on websites. Some of you who probably thought you wanted a website probably don't need one. Not yet. Like I say, if you want to brand something for your personal brand, information about your company, you got a restaurant, something like that, yeah, that makes sense. But if you're trying to test out some products, please don't build a website. Please don't build a website, because you're going to spend hours or days or weeks or months working on a website that you may not need, because maybe that product doesn't work out for you for one reason or another. You don't want to build a whole website around a product. And that's the one other thing I want to leave you with today too, is a company is not a product. Please be aware of this. A company is not a product. A product is something a company sells. A company has to stand for something. Survivalcave Food is, the tagline is helping families prepare. All right, so when I help families prepare, I can help them prepare by selling them a membership to my survival membership. I can help them by selling them canned meats. I can help them by selling a credit card knife or something like that. But the product is not the business, okay? And one product does not make a business, okay? Don't think that one product will make a business. You're going to have multiple products. Like, we sell canned meat, and that is technically a product, but we have 14.5 ounce, we have 28 ounce, we have beef, we have chicken, we have turkey, we have ground beef, we have pork. So we have all those different meats in those different size cans, and then when you take those, then we have combinations. We've got mixed cases where you can get 6 of one, 6 of another, or 3, 3, 3, or whatever you want to do. So that we've taken what is a singular idea of a product, which is a canned meat, and made it into multiple products too. How often do you work on content for your website? Love that line. Product is not a company. Well, content for my website depends on which website. On Survivalcave Food, not as much as I should, but on jrfisher.com, videos get uploaded every single day, so new content goes there every single day. Now, it is the videos that come from YouTube that go over there, but they also go to Twitter. But content is something you got to create every single day. And as a matter of fact, Saturday training, I believe it is how to create engaging content. So if you've had a hard time and you're struggling with, well, what do I do? I mean, everybody's telling me to do this engaging content. How do I do it? Saturday's training would be really good for you to watch, because it'll show you how to do that. Content comes in many forms. It can be blogs, it can be audios, it can be PDF downloads, it can be courses, it can be videos live like what I'm doing now, it can be recorded videos like what I did yesterday. Yesterday I recorded 12 videos. It was a long day. I think I was going stir crazy in the office yesterday. It's a long time to actually do that. So do you need a website? That's the first question you want to ask yourself. If you do need one, go to that top comment that I pinned in there. I think I pinned it. Oh, it's the first comment in the chat section there. And there's a video you can watch on how to build a WordPress website in 30 minutes. It's that easy. But it's not going to be a real detailed one. No, you're not going to have 40 plugins in there and all that kind of stuff. But I would say if it's just a product that you're marketing, use Kartra and try it out first. Build a couple pages. They've got templates in there, and you can try out some of those templates. Paul says, looking forward to Saturday. Thank you so much, Paul. And put your comments in there, guys. Does this make sense to you about websites? Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand? And I didn't want to walk you through step-by-step building a website on here, because it's boring. It's boring. But that video that I did post, the first comment in the chat section, if you click on that, you can watch that video on how to build a website. Now, if you're watching this after I went live, what you want to do is click Show Chat. It's off to the right. You're going to want to click Show the Chat, and that way you can scroll up to that and click on that video and actually watch that video. Very helpful, very simple for you to do, very easy for you to go through. How do you create an email list without a website? You can just use the page in Kartra. You don't need a website. So you can have them opt in for a free download. You can have them opt in to watch something. You can have them opt in to give them a discount code, and you can do all that in Kartra. You don't need a website for that. Just don't. You can have a blog. You can actually put a blog on Kartra if you want. You can write one. I mean, it's a little bit cumbersome to do it, but you can certainly do it there. You can send them to that blog. Now, what you can do in Kartra is you can assign a URL to Kartra, so it looks like they're at a website. So I could take JR Fisher and assign it to Kartra. So when they type in jrfisher.com, it actually goes to my Kartra account, but it seems like they're on a website. So you can actually do that. You can add URLs. I think we have 5 or 6 different websites that go into Kartra right now, that are different things like courses and just different stuff that I have going on. So you can do that without having to build a website. And once again, if you use WordPress, you're going to either have to start from scratch or use a template that they have in there. Not that that's bad, but I'm just saying if you use Kartra, you can just grab a page and just make one page. You don't have to make 20 pages. You don't have to make your menus. You don't have to make all those links and categories and all that. So you don't have to do it. So that's the cool thing about it. In the future, can you go over the changes you did to your current sales videos you split tested? Which videos are you talking about, Paul? Are you talking about Survivalcave Food? Are you talking about J.R. Fisher? And I will tell you, I'll give you a real simple overview. In Kartra, you can split test sales videos. I don't really split test, and as I look at this, I don't really split test a sales video. I'll split test emails, and I'll split test sales pages. But when you do a split test, guys, it's really important. This is super important. You got to hear me on this. Only change one thing. Only change one thing. Here's why. If you change more than one thing, so let's say I've got 2 sales pages, and I've got a title at the top, and then I've got, a picture, and then I've got, a description. Okay, so title, picture, description. If I change title and picture on page 2, how do I know it was the title that changed things or the picture? I don't. So what you have to do if you're going to do a split test is change one item, run your test, make your decision. So if I have 2 pages and page 2, I change the title on it, I run 100 people through it, 200 people through it, 1,000, whatever you want to do, and I determine that page 2 does twice as good as page 1, then I go with page 2, and then I split test it again. And maybe this time I change the image, and maybe I change the image of split test 2, and it doesn't do as well. So I kill that one and I stay with the one I'm at, and then I try another image. And then once I've got that optimized to where I think I like it, then maybe I'll change some of the text at the bottom when I'm selling it. So that's basically how split tests are done. Same thing with emails. The only thing you want to change is one component. So I generally on emails want to just change the subject line because that's where you get people to click. Okay. And then later on, if I want to change something in the body of the email, I can do that once I've determined what my subject line is optimized at. And how often should you do this? You do it forever. I mean, forever. You got to keep changing things up. J.R. Fisher sales video. Thought you said you did 11 changes to it. Might have been copy you were talking about. Yeah, I'm not sure which sales video you're talking. So I've got a lot of sales videos, Paul. I've got ones for Ecom Road, for Web Cash Academy, for Digital Cash Academy, for Facebook Ads University. I've got those are my VSL video sales letters. So it could be any one of those that you're talking about. I'm just not sure which one you are talking about. So yeah, I got that going on. All right, guys, I've got a meeting I got to go to on YouTube ads today. So I'm working on my YouTube ads. I got to get over there, work on those, and get those things optimized. They're not doing what I want right now, so I gotta improve that. I really appreciate you guys being here today. Put your comments in the chat section if you like today's session. Don't forget to share this video with somebody else that could be useful for them. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell. Turn on all bell notifications so you're notified every single time that I upload a video or I go live. And James, I don't know why they didn't notify you. That's really bad. We need to call YouTube and say, hey, you guys messing with James? You got an issue with James? Hey, I got his back, okay? Okay, guys, I really appreciate being here. If you're not watching this live, don't worry about the chat. You can put your comments in the comments section. I do come back and answer those. I love having your comments in there. I really do appreciate it. I thank you guys so much for being here today, and I'll see you tomorrow and Saturday. Check out what the subject matter is. You got to go to my channel and see what tomorrow is, okay? But if you've got a question about anything making money online, feel free. A lot of people did that today. I really appreciate your comments. Feel free to ask those questions in the comment section. I really do appreciate getting those comments. Thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow.